Hello, I'm PX3 and this is Seed Sunday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I show some of the best and most interesting seeds that do exist for Minecraft on the console. Today's seed is one particular example of that because it does have, it's really good technically. It has 4 villages on the surface. 3 of those are blacksmith chests, including one of them being a tiger village, so really great stuff to see there. There's an igloo nearby one of those villages too, and it's just got like a lot of good technical stuff on the surface, which you'll probably quite like, but as well as that, it's got a lot of weird quirky stuff that I think is great for building around with. So for instance, there's an entirely drained river that you could probably turn into your own little project. For instance, there's a pretty interesting spawn in my opinion, and for instance, there's also just a few other weird bits around the map that I figured I'd show off and let you know about in today's Seed Sundays. Hopefully you all do enjoy it, like if you do, because it helps out the channel, and lets know you do like the Seed Sunday. But with that said, let's get straight into it, shall we? And let's start with the seed, the most important part of any Seed Sunday, because it's going to be on screen right now. It's a big long list of numbers. The reason for that is because I use the Minecraft console candidate seed picker, and although it gives you long numbers, it gives you slightly better seeds on average, so you'll spot that in the seed that it's kind of a good thing in this particular case. So yeah, with that said, if you type in that seed, you will spawn just over here in this very interesting kind of combination of biomes. Because the reason I think it's so interesting is because even though you're surrounded by just forest on all sides, it's lots of different types of forest, and also the plains biome you're in, which again is usually a very bland biome because it's the same thing over and over again, which is what most people want. But instead this time we have a very weird plains biome because it's a plains biome, kind of covered in hills, like hill, 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 hill. And although I don't, I think for the most part, most people want to build on flat lands. That's usually a good thing. In this particular case, you can see how it could be really useful if you want to have like a multi-layered build, or do something that involves a very subtle gradient. Because again, most hills in Minecraft aren't this very, very, very subtle thing. And I think it's kind of cool that you have access to this tiny little hill that you could then kind of shape to your own will, or do something like that with. Again, it's just a really nice place to build a house, and it's right next to spawn, and it's right next to all these forests for all the wood you might need. And I just think that's kind of great. The second thing I really like about the spawn is the fact that if you go to the west of it, in fact, well, it's just behind the spawn, but I'll show you what I mean if we go really, really far to the west here, because there is this, there's something what I like to call a drained river, which I still don't know if it's meant to exist, or if it's just a weird glitch that's kind of caused it to look like it should exist, because basically all the way on the west of the map, there's this lake over here, right? And the lake forms into a river, I guess, kind of like real life, so a giant lake turns into a river, and the river's meant to keep on going this way for some decent distance, but instead it cuts out right over here. That's right, just kind of stops right there, and then as you can see, if we go through this thing, basically it cuts out even though it should be a pathway through the jungle, but then it eventually comes back, and then you get a river for a solid, 50 blocks or something, and then it cuts out again, and then you get some lakes in there every now and then, but it's a river which isn't a river in the most strange of senses, and yeah, it's something that I thought was very, very interesting, because there's this entire thing that, again, it's perfectly laid out to be a river, but it doesn't have any water in it, even though it goes all the way out to over here, if I'm not mistaken, and into another lake, and then into the, full-on ocean, which is, I feel like there is some amazing build, maybe, yeah, again, not amazing build, but some amazing build fun to be had with trying to turn that into a river, and not only could you turn it into a river, you could turn it into one that kind of flows down naturally, more like a real one, because one thing that Minecraft rivers has a problem is they don't have a direction, they just kind of sit there flat, but what you could do with this one is you could kind of make it so it flows in this direction by making this go down a block, or making this go up a block, because it is on this, layered bank, you actually could have the river be all the way up here, and then kind of flow down. Again, I just really wanted to build a river the moment I saw this. I was like, it's an opportunity to make your own river from scratch, and I figured maybe some of you do too. But in case that's not your thing, I feel like another interesting thing about this is the fact that there's a ravine which literally intersects with the river. Again, everything else in the river makes perfect sense here, but there's a ravine kind of cutting it off here, which makes me wonder if maybe it isn't meant to exist, because that is a bit of a strange thing. And also this, as you can see, when it intersects with this, it literally has some floating water that the moment you press any block around here, it's going to start flowing, so maybe that's your thing. But it's just kind of interesting to me that worlds can still generate with flat flying water that shouldn't be there, and also right next to a ravine, which is by the way, a pretty good ravine if you're looking for free stuff of the spawn. Again, bear in mind we're just to the west of the spawn right now. There's the spawn, here we are right now, and it's a good way to get yourself some iron, good way to get some coal, and also because it's it's got some random patches of sand going through it, it's a really interesting shaped biome which you could fill up with sand if that's your thing, because all you need to do is break 3 or 4 blocks in some places, and you can make some sand fall down. So we break 3 blocks of sand, and is that a fun thing? And yeah, I don't know, I feel like that's something that you don't normally have access to. I don't know why you'd want to, but it's something you do have access to with this particular ravine. So as well as that and that ravine, there's just a few interesting bizarre bits of terrain on this map that I want to show you as we go along, but for the most part it's just the mushroom biome that I want to show first, because this is everyone's favorite biome, right? Again, you get them most of the time when you do a random generated seed, and if you haven't had a mushroom biome yet, you need to have one. There's literally a mob exclusive to these. There's no mobs that will spawn on here, so you'd have a safe house, and just in general, what's not to love? Mushrooms and no other mobs. it's the dream way of playing Minecraft, right? So yeah, that's what you get access to on this mushroom biome right here. So let's talk about the actual like naturally generated structures on the seed, because there's a lot of really good ones going on. Just the north of the spawn, literally like that far to the north, you can't see it because of the forest at first, but literally just the north, you can see there is in fact a village found here, and the village even contains a blacksmith chest, which I thought was a really cool thing. And the great thing about the blacksmith chest in this seed is they do contain this amazing loot, like free diamonds, free it's not free iron, but free iron in the form of an iron pickaxe, free iron not in the form of an iron pickaxe, as well as 9 ingot. You just got some like good food, you got some diamonds, again, like can we stress that there are diamonds in this chest for free, and some apples, which is good for UHC. Just in general, a really great first chest, as well as all the food you get, and just, yeah, it's a great place to visit at the very start. And look how many crop plants that is very close together. I didn't even realize they were right next to each other, because they, again, like the edge of this one generated into the edge of this one, and it means you get this mega crop plant where you get every crop you could ever want, which might be your thing, especially if you do like the farming, which is something I've been doing a lot of recently. So, as well as that, we've got, just to the west of that, we've got this second village. So, this is the only village on the seed without a blacksmith chest, and it makes up for it with the sheer size of the thing. This is a very big village, considering that they're meant to generate pretty small when they're in the normal world, so you can see how many houses it's got. It's got so many villages as a result, so this is the trading village, in case that's your sort of thing. And also, just the south of it, this is something I was going to show you near the river, but I entirely forgot until just now. I have this really interesting like cave right here, which again, I love these caves, because you can explore them forever, and they sometimes lead to bedrock. But also, as well as just being interesting, it has access to a mob spawner, just without breaking any blocks, or you have to break 2 blocks, but still, you have access to a mob spawner without having to like dig through a cave. And then the mob spawner gives you so much gunpowder, and if I'm not mistaken, it gives you a few other goodies, like again, a saddle, you get some beetroot seeds, which might be your sort of thing. So yeah, pretty great place. It has a bunch of gunpowder, if that's your sort of thing. And who doesn't love gunpowder? Who doesn't love gunpowder? I mean, it's not nice to have in your world, but it's nice to have in your possession, right? So yeah, that is the second village, and a zombie spawner just nearby the village, which you can find if you go in the cave at these coordinates right here. So as well as that, if we head to the north of this village, we'll find another very interesting terrain feature, because there's a few extreme hill biomes here, and one of them has this giant floating island. It looks like it's not a floating island, but as you can see, it literally isn't connected to this thing at all. And yeah, I really love floating islands in Minecraft. I've said before, I have this partial spot for them, and here is just one that has this amazing view of a jungle biome which is admittedly taller than it, which feels a bit weird, but still, we got a floating island right here, and it's just a nice little thing to find. So yeah, that is this right here in the extreme hills biome, which gets a little bit less extreme as you go to the north, because as you fade into the north and into forest, and then into spruce spruce forest or tiger biome, you find this tiger village right here. So this tiger village, again, it's interesting for the same reasons it normally is. It's got some villager stuff, and you're like, ooh, that's kind of interesting, but most importantly, we've got the blacksmith chest. So the blacksmith chest contains 6 bits of iron, 2 bits of gold, and some iron horse armor, so that's kind of nice. As well as that, of course, we've got basically, again, it's free stuff, but it's mostly kind of that. But the thing that's interesting as well as that is the fact that we have the 4th village, which is just found over there, and we've also got this cave right here, which I love it when caves generate into a sand biome, because in this case, it looks like the sand hasn't fallen through, but sometimes it does, and it's just a very, very strange feature on the landscape, which might be your sort of thing if you like caves which are a little lit up. But in case you don't, then let's head all the way to the east of the map again, across this actual flat plains, by the way, which has a heart-shaped hole here, which, again, look at it. It's a heart. It's not quite a heart. You might have to do some work if you want to, convince people that you love them because you did it in Minecraft. But I'm just saying, you do a little work with this, and suddenly, you made a heart. And you don't even have to do very much. There's also like this, which is, it doesn't really look more like a heart. It looks like Pac-Man or a lily pad or something. But still, we got something going on there. And isn't that wonderful that you have a plain spine with a heart in it? I think it is. But yeah, if we head even further to the east, like I just said, we'll actually find another plains village, which is found over here. So this is also in a relatively flat place. I mean, it's not perfectly flat, but it's relatively flat. So maybe if you want to have your build closer to the village, it's a better way to build. But yeah, as you can see in this village, we've got ourselves a blacksmith chest. The blacksmith chest then contains all the bread in the world, because you need more bread. You need 2 pairs of iron boots, trust me, and then you need an iron chestplate. That's pretty good stuff, actually, the free iron chestplate. And it means that, for free on this seed, you have access to all that iron, all that gold, and literally diamonds. I mean, a diamond pickaxe isn't great, but a diamond sword and a diamond shovel, that's a nice start to a seed, and it's something you get right here. But also, something that you get that I mentioned at the start is a igloo next to, built just to the north of that previous village. So this igloo is really interesting because it's generated right at the edge of the console world. Again, I always do these on classic worlds because that's a better, you get more density of stuff, like more stuff is packed in close together, and in this case we've got an igloo literally on the edge of the world, which is, it's nice to see, right? So yeah, this igloo at the very edge of the world is one that, you know, you look at it and it is in fact an igloo, and it's even got some like snow on the top of it. I didn't know that happened. But yeah, it's basically, even though it's an igloo at the edge of the world, you might think, oh, it's floating, so it's kind of that. It's actually a floating igloo with a basement. That's right, there is in fact a basement to this thing, and if you look at it, if we break below the surface of it, we can get ourselves access to a free golden apple, which is kind of nice, right? So I'd go down there, but I'm sure you've all seen the bottom of an igloo before. I just think it's really interesting that there is in fact, again, like, I'll show you in here, just in case you're like, oh, I don't really know about that. Yes, there is in fact a way down to the basement, which is pretty darn cool. You wouldn't normally expect that, and now you get to. So yeah, that is what's found just over here. Let's head back to the spawn and let's kind of summarize what we've seen today, because I feel like this seed is a really, again, most seeds you see that have like the high village counts, just this mess of like, you know, savannas and plains, which is what some people want, and it's really flat stuff. But this biome has a really interesting mixture in between each biome. Like, you saw how I had that plains biome into the forest into the other one between the villages. You see how, like, to the south of this one, it's like swamp into forest, into extreme hills, into, you know, desert, into root forest. There's just this really interesting kind of, you know, like, a mixture of biomes here, as well as the, you know, interesting places to build, which makes me want to just, you know, kind of tackle this seed and do one of a few things. You know, the first one is just to come in here, take all the stuff, and, you know, like, try and kill the dragon. But the other thing it makes me want to do is it makes me want to, like, play with the landscape a bit. It really is built for you to, you know, kind of terraform with a bit. Like, oh yeah, if you just place a few more blocks around these edges, you can connect all the hills, and you can have, like, a secret little valley that no one can see you. And there's just a lot of, like, tiny things like that I think the seed is perfect for, and that I saw I was going along, and maybe you did too. And if you did, then again, you can go back to the start of the video and check out the seed. But if you didn't, then I hope you did all enjoy Seed Sunday regardless. Like the video if you did like it, because it helps out the channel, and lets us know you do like the Seed Sunday. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.